Hey y'all, I'm sitting here thinking like, how do I even start this? But I'm just going to just go into it. I struggle with lust and this like arguing, controlling my tongue, and I'm gonna just say some things that I've always wanted to wait till marriage and everything. Ever since I decided like I really want when I had my son, well, while I was pregnant with him, I was like, I really want God to be like Lord over my life. I want Jesus to be Lord over my life. And I really wanted to follow him wholeheartedly. Prior to that decision, I had already like a month prior to that decision, I had already stopped like having intercourse. Um, the month after I found out I was pregnant is when I stopped having intercourse. So I went a whole year without having intercourse, and then I fell short. And then 8 months later, I go by without having sex. Then I fall short again. And then 6 months go by and I fall short again. And the last time it really like broke my heart because I'm like, why does this keep happening? Like, I could read scripture and then end up doing what it say not to do a couple hours later. Like, I was really struggling, but I was really trying to honor God. So I'm just getting to it. So I was just like, the root of all sin is unbelief. Unbelief is the absence of faith. And faith means complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It's clear I don't have faith in every area of my life. Then I remembered like Romans 10:17 says, faith comes from hearing, and that is hearing the good news about Christ. So then I'm like, okay, I need to increase my faith, which means I need to raise my biblical IQ and be convinced about what scriptures say, because I read the Bible all the time. Like, I read about y'all. I'm a little shaking, like, because I'm about to share my prayer, and I felt led to. But yeah, I'm just going to the prayer. I'm just going to the prayer. This is what I prayed. I said, how can I learn to be convinced by scripture and believe it without a doubt? Because I feel like I believe and I try to honor you, but I want what I'm tempted with deep down. And I try to fight it as an excuse. Your grace is sufficient. I believe that. It's like, I know you'll forgive me, and I'm not trying to abuse grace. For Romans 3:23 says we all fall short of your glorious standard. And then 1 John 2:1 shows me that if I do sin, I have grace. My dear children, I am writing this to you so that you will not sin. But if anyone does sin, we have an advocate who pleads our case before the Father. He is Jesus Christ, the one who is truly righteous. I feel like I've messed up in this area of lust and controlling my tongue way too many times. I know James 3:2 says, indeed, we all make many mistakes, but if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. But this is ridiculous. I know your grace is sufficient, but I don't want to keep falling in these areas. Whew, I keep shaking. Now that I believe what you say about grace would set me free from condemnation, because I used to struggle with condemnation, I want to be so convinced about what you say about sin. I don't want to believe it's beautiful anymore in the midst of temptation, because when I'm not tempted, I can see it's evil. I can see that it's wrong. But when I am tempted, it don't look that bad to me anymore. I don't want to believe it's okay. I don't want to believe anything other than what you say about sin. I think I need to go to the beginning. Show me how destructive, abusive, ugly, unhealthy sin is. Ooh, I keep shaking. This is like, help me believe what you believe about sin, Lord, and help me see it exactly how you see it. Convince me. I don't want to be disconnected from you anymore. I don't want to keep falling short in the same area. Let us walk in unity. Take your time and help my unbelief. Help me focus on what sin is and what it does. I also wanted to add too, far as the lust thing, like, far as me struggling with lust, out of nowhere, like I was doing fine. Then out of nowhere, these thoughts started coming up. And Tosin, if she watched this, she'll probably comment under it or something. I don't know. But I had texted her one morning. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I told her what I was struggling with, like with lust. And I gave her all the details. Like, I haven't watched porn in over almost 3 years. I think it has been. I don't know, but I haven't watched porn. But I found myself trying to remember old porn scenes, like, that I used to watch. And I found myself thinking, like, dang, I should have did more with girls before I gave my life to Christ. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that I just been struggling with. I'm shaking because I'm just like this is uncomfortable for me. This is so uncomfortable for me, but I really feel led to like go into this. But anyways, so after that prayer, I went to Genesis 3, and what stuck out to me was what God said and what Eve was convinced by. And I immediately thought of people perish for lack of knowledge. So I don't know if everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve. Basically, God told Adam, he shall not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But he only told Adam. He didn't tell Eve. And what he said is not what Eve says to Satan. Okay, so Satan came up to Eve like, did God really say XYZ? And she was just like, yeah, God said this. She said what God said, but then she added on to what he said. Like, God never said she couldn't touch the tree. God only said that she couldn't eat from the tree, but she was just like, God said we couldn't eat or touch the tree. All right. So, when I read it, I immediately thought of people perish for lack of knowledge. Eve added on to what God said. God never said anything about touching the tree. And God never commanded Eve, he commanded Adam. So perhaps Adam even added on to what God told him and told Eve, or Eve just added the touch part herself. Long story short, I came into the conclusion, like, people perish from lack of knowledge because they don't know what God said. What God said get mixed up, distorted because people aren't seeking God for themselves, and they trying to learn or get to know him. So this scripture of my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge, that's in Hosea. I thought I wrote it down. It's Hosea 4, I think it's Hosea 4. But the King James Version says, my people are destroyed because lack of knowledge. And in the NLT version, it says, my people are being destroyed because they don't know me. This is the same scripture. There's, like, it may seem different, but they're literally saying the same thing. They mean the same thing, because the Dictionary of Biblical Languages says that this word knowledge, this Hebrew word, means information of a person with a strong implication of relationship to that person. So this knowledge means relationship to God. So when God said, like, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, he's really saying my people are destroyed because they don't know me. Okay. So then I was just like, I don't know if I'm tripping, but did God ever have direct communication with Eve? Then I see that we don't see him speak to her until Genesis 3:13. And then I was just like, what if Eve, because of what she knew about God only came from Adam, helped her and added on to what God said? Because a lot of us and what we know about God came from other people, and we should hear from other people. Like, it's good to hear the good news. We are supposed to spread it. And I'm not gonna say but, and we're supposed to fact check. We don't fact check. Like, we don't go to God and see if what they're saying is correct. And we're not going to him to learn about him and experience him ourselves. I'm still shaking because I'm just like, ugh. Anyways, so yeah, I wrote, when God speak of lack of knowledge, he's saying people don't know him, the one who is all knowing, which makes a lot of sense. So what do this have to do with like falling short, sin, and temptation? Lack of intimacy. Like that's what God led me to, was lack of intimacy. Like, yeah. So and here's where I work for, is lack of intimacy, because I read the Bible all the time. Like, I'm either in my physical Bible or like I'm on my phone app. I mean, I always go on my phone app because I'm always looking at different translation. I only got the NLT and the physical. I mean, I got KJV too, but I think my Bible app is like 570 days or something. I really don't look, because after a while I stopped caring. Like I was going to make it a priority to read the word, like even if it's just one scripture or something, or reading more scriptures, because I'm a mom and everybody got different devotion times, but I do make it a priority to read my word every single day. So here's what I wrote after my time praying and seeking him on this matter of me struggling with lust and controlling my tongue. I said, honestly, I think I keep falling short as well, because I think I know enough about God, when that's impossible. It's so much more to learn. I just told him I wanted to be on fire for him again, because I'm not gonna lie, I got bored. I also wasn't seeking as much. I will read, but I wasn't always seeking. Every time I did seek, I found something new, and it really made me happy. Learning more about my maker makes me happy. Learning more about what may advance the kingdom makes me happy. I'm starting to think our falling short has everything to do with our intimacy with God, knowing him and experiencing him, growing to love him. Because this morning I was sad. I had a dream that made me realize I still have lust in me. I prayed for myself and everyone who may be struggling in that area, and began seeking God on how I can get through it and be so convinced by what he say. Yeah, I prayed for myself and everyone who may be struggling in that area. And then I began seeking God on how I can get through it and how I could be convinced by what he said. And he led me here to intimacy. And I realized that after seeking, I was focused on Jesus and not my struggle. I believe that if I focus on Jesus while being careful of what I watch and listen to, while bringing every thought into the obedience of Christ, that's 2 Corinthians 10:5, he'll take care of the rest. And y'all probably like, dream. Yeah, this is 2 days ago. So this happened 2 days ago. And I had a dream that made me realize, like, I'm still struggling with lust. So, yeah, that's it. He wanted me to share this. I don't really know who needs to hear it, but yeah, I know I'm not the only one. And I'm also sharing, like, this walk, it ain't been perfect. Like, it ain't been perfect. I definitely messed up a lot, and I really try to. God, he knows my heart. And also in the beginning, when I told y'all all the times that I felt short, like having sex, the first time when I went a year without having intercourse, and then I had intercourse, afterwards, I was like, when I looked at my Bible, I felt shame. Like, I don't want to read this. Like, I wanted to, but I felt like, dang, my father is disappointed. That's how I felt. Like, oh my God, she's disappointed in me. And I went to it anyway. Every time I opened up my Bible, I lied to you not, he kept having me open up on Esther. And I'm just like, I don't feel like Esther. If anybody know Esther in the Bible, she's the one that, like, she was the one that stood out more than all the rest of the girls. And y'all just gotta read. Esther, she obeyed. She was really a woman of virtue. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't feel like her, but he had me keep opening up to her. Yeah. So, but when it stuck out to me when I read it was Mordecai. But anyways, yeah, like in that moment he showed me his grace. Cause I believe he knew that I really wanted to live a life that was pleasing to him. Like he knew my struggles, he knew what was going on in my heart, because he know my heart more than I do. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because like he's really gracious. Like if you're really trying, like if you're not trying to abuse grace, if you really like wanting to grow in him, wanting to live a life that's pleasing to him, like he's going to understand, he's going to be gracious to you. But yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta share. Dang, y'all in my business now, and I'm really tired. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I hope somebody gets something from this. I have not been on Instagram. I'm only getting back on here just to post this. And was another thing that's crazy. When I did try to get back on, cause I was trying to find something, and I just wanted to download Instagram back because I was supposed to be taking Instagram off like for a minute. And when I tried to download it back, it wouldn't let me download it. But then I said, all right, Lord, if you really want me to post this, let this download. The app downloads straight to my phone. All this